Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talking About Movies for Far Too Long here on the MediaBite channel. And today I want to talk about something that will be featured in the first ever episode of the upcoming Exploring Cinema podcast, well, Reservoir Dogs. I won't spoil my exact feelings about this movie simply just because I think we had some very interesting conversations in that podcast, but other than that, I want to simply look at the way that Reservoir Dogs looks at violence and its almost innocent fascination with violence, and the way that it handles the violence inside its own film. So before we move on today, I have one request for you, and that would be please make sure you're subscribed and that the bell is turned on and set to all, just because YouTube will not send you most of the videos if those settings are not turned to on or like recommended or something like that. So thank you if you actually go do that. And with that, let's just sort of jump into the video for today. So if you have absolutely no idea what Reservoir Dogs is actually about, I have a story to tell you about this movie, simply just because there is some of the most graphic scenes, some very, very violent scenes, and there's also some very tasteful movie scenes in it that I think is one of the most interesting aspects. Spoiler alert for Reservoir Dogs if you really don't have any clue what happened in this movie. So first off, literally from like 10 minutes into the film, we see a man who is absolutely covered in blood, literally bleeding out of his stomach, and in the car, he's in a car, which is important, and there is blood literally everywhere in the backseat of this car, and I do mean I think there is not an inch of the backseat that is not covered completely in bloodstains. That is because of a jewel store robbery gone wrong. Move away from this, and we get to multiple gunshot wounds and guns being shot, as well as probably by far the scene that proves that this film has a fascination with violence. And that is the scene that even made the likes of Wes Craven leave the screening, and that would be the ear scene. If you don't know what the ear scene is, that means you haven't seen this movie, and if you haven't seen this movie, please skip away before I spoil the scene for you, because it will have the whole thing will be completely lost if you know about it beforehand. So, this is the scene where Michael Madison's character chops a cop's ear off while dancing to Stuck in the Middle with You, and it is incredibly uncomfortable. So there's this kind of line that Quentin Tarantino draws between showing the audience what the violence is about and what's happening in it, and kind of panning away like he does when the ear is actually being chopped off, which, you know, that's probably because of budgetary reasons, but I still think that he did an incredible job at making you feel the violence rather than having to just see it on screen. I think it's one of those things that I really can't properly describe to you unless you've seen the movie, but this scene is so violent while also really at the end of the day not showing you actually what you think you're seeing. As always, these videos are meant to spark a conversation. So what do you think about the violence in Reservoir Dogs? It's a very interesting conversation, and sometimes I think it's very overdone kind of conversation, because it's one of those things where like violence in movies doesn't cause people to do violence, that kind of conversation isn't really worth it. What I'm asking is, what do you think about the violence in Reservoir Dogs specifically? Do you think that it is over the top and that it is kind of overly fascinated with violence, or do you think it's just nothing? It's not enough. Is it done right? Is it not done right? And with that, you can follow us where it matters by looking at our link tree in the description down below, and make sure you listen to the podcast if that is something that you like. If you like podcasts and things, we'll have many more episodes out for you then, so you can just kind of see that and be interested in that, hopefully. So with that, I want to say thank you all for watching and liking and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.